Shut up and sit down.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
When I'm on my bike, I can do the things I like. When I'm on my bicycle,
I look like a jackass.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence, and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way, like an improv conversation. Improvisation.
You are listening to the Dial Podcast with Matt Lee Grand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. We all have two lives. The second one begins when we realize that we only have one. Enjoy the podcast.
Hey, man, I'll tell you what, man, the dang old boy ain't right, man. I'm gonna talk about don't kick them dang old ass, man. I don't take. For God's sakes, Hank, act like an adult, man.
just try to run and listen.
Well, you know, Bobby, I told time don't take for me, man. It don't life too short, man. You don't want to hold no grudge, man. I thought, man, you gonna let little bygones be bygones, man.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dial Podcast. I'm Jake Von Turing, and I'm here with Lance Hepler.
Lance Hepler, right here.
In studio.
For your viewing pleasure.
Rode all the way through the night just to be here for the podcast.
Just to be here with my friends.
We appreciate it.
Sleepy right now?
Yeah, it's been a week.
Whirlwind tour. To his left, Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? You guys look hungover.
Oh, yeah. No.
But fantastic.
Hey, did you guys see this beard that Evan grew? Oh, wait a second.
right.
That's not Evan.
Nope.
That's
not
not
as attractive.
Welcome back, Scott Schultz. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having
Good.
me.
I think this officially makes him the most visited guest on the podcast.
Yeah, I
I think
hope-
this is like, what, round four? Maybe?
Or five.
Five?
I think
yeah.
it's five.
We just make you permanent
Yeah.
now.
If I'm here 6 times, I get on payroll. So let's
That's
go.
when you start making the big bucks.
I think you finally overtook Justin Wagner, so there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Hey, let's backpedal. Lance,
Yes.
what you been up to?
I spent the last week in Utah and Idaho. It was a wonderful, just fantastic week. On the way out, we stopped and has anybody at this table ridden the Deschutes River Trail east of the Dalles? It is a phenomenal ride. It's an 18-mile gravel road right next to the Deschutes River before it dumps out into the Columbia. So it's just past the Dalles. It is a beautiful, gorgeous road. And so I stopped there with my wife, and she rode all of it, and I rode all of it on the way out, which is just kind of fantastic. So, it's a fairly popular route, but it's far enough away that it always feels like it's empty. There's nobody out there. But if you're going out there, the gravel is sharp, so make sure that you top off your sealant or have a tube with you because,
Gravel bike is the right bike for it, though.
Mountain bike would work as well.
Okay, because that's what I got.
Yeah.
The bike that you have is the right bike for the
Yes,
journey.
that's
Okay.
correct. It is flat. There's one little climb.
Okay.
So it's a flat road. It's fun.
I
Fantastic.
think we're going that way the end of this month or beginning of next month, something like that.
It's a cool spot.
Stop.
And there's a
Take
great
photos.
campground right there with like access to the river, so your kids could actually like play while you rode your bike if you wanted, or you could drag all your kids up there too. So,
Will do.
you haven't done that, Scott?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm daydreaming of fishing though. Can I go and fish?
Yes, you can. It's
Okay.
at the mouth of the is right where it dumps into the Columbia.
Are you allowed to fish there?
I think
They've
so.
got pretty strict rules, don't they?
I don't know what the rules are.
I think
Just say
you're
yes.
always
Yeah.
allowed to fish until you get caught.
Yes.
If your beard
heard
is
that.
longer than 2 inches long, there's no fishing rules.
There's no rules.
There's
for-
just no rules.
And that
We-
applies to life in general.
in general.
There's no rules.
We had a fishing rule. I grew up saltwater fishing, and we'd fish from like harbors. And there's certain fish that if you pull out of the water, you can get like a $2,000 fishing and game fine. And I've seen people throw their poles in the water when they've had like something on the line. I'm like, you don't got scissors or
Bite the line.
That's why you have a knife handy. So from there, we ended up, we headed towards Idaho. I actually stopped and did some rock hounding. Big surprise. Stopped at a place called
Anything good?
Rabbit Springs. Want to see?
Yep. Yeah, we do.
What you got?
All right.
Ooh.
Check it out.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Can we guess
that a
what
geode?
that is?
That is Jake
Sorry.
was fast. Check it out.
I mean, I thought it was like a fossilized, like a pterodactyl shell.
Yep, it is.
That's what it looks like.
It is.
It
for
looks like
sure.
a golf ball that's been split open and it's all crystallized inside. So this is a little geode from the area called Rabbit Springs. It's right on the Idaho-Nevada border. And we literally found dozens and dozens of those.
Like a giant rabbit turd is what it looks
It's
like.
what it looks like.
It's
all
beautiful.
yeah, it's kind of cool. So
There's some clip in like Joe Dirt where he's like, I found this golden nugget. He's like, what you found there is a Boeing turd that they dropped these turds from the. It's Joe Dirt is this movie from it's one of those
Early
like,
90s,
hidden
yeah.
gems, early 90s.
Yeah.
it's really
maybe
bad
mid-90s.
David Spade movie.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
But yet really good.
Yeah.
Check it out, people.
so bad it's good.
From there, we ended up in Provo because my daughter, Kelty, was graduating from college. So hooray for Kelty. She graduated from Utah Valley University. We spent a couple of fantastic days with her and her boyfriend because it was her boyfriend's
Graduation also?
birthday.
Oh,
It was
birthday.
his birthday. So
Cool.
we were all hanging out there. It was really cool. She graduated with a degree in digital film production.
Where's she going?
She had to stay. She was actually going to come home for a couple weeks, but she is staying in Utah because she has gigs lined up for the next like month or something. So she has all this great stuff.
Is she eventually moving to LA?
That is her plan. Is probably before the summer's over, she will move to LA, and she already has connections and gigs lined up in LA too. I don't get it.
That's awesome.
She just.
Everyone fights so hard to like break into that industry, and it's so cool to see her just be like, yeah, no problem.
She's like turning stuff down.
Yeah.
So, it's cool to watch it like happening in real time. So I'm super proud of her. That was on Friday. Her graduation was on Friday morning. Utah Valley did a strange thing. It was a drive-through graduation. It was a drive-through graduation.
Because of COVID?
Partially COVID and partially because there were 11,000 graduates. So it's a big school, Utah Valley University. It's open enrollment, so it was a big school. So
Did anyone do it in style, like one of those limousines with this jacuzzi in the back?
people decorated their cars with balloons and with stuff, and we had our, I'm in the big Sprinter van and the doors open and the music cranking while we're
That's
like
fun.
waiting in line to get to the spot. And then when you get to the spot, she jumps out, cap and gown, hands a thing. They read her name. They, throw confetti in the air. She shakes all her professors' hands, jump back in the van, and you're done.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Kind of nice.
It was kind of nice.
Yeah. I mean, all these ceremonies. I mean, come on.
Right. So
They should
go
have
to-
doubled it, like a cop is there, like making sure all the cars have like up to date tags.
Yeah.
that's right.
Some real value.
Checking for something
Yeah.
safe.
Something else was going on for sure.
So that was fun. But that was on Friday around noon or something, or we weren't done till like 2:00 in the afternoon. Then my other daughter, Darby, and her girlfriend, fiance, Julie, they were graduating on Saturday, like 15 hours later. So we had to, well, it wasn't 15 hours. Maybe it was more like, it was like 20 hours later. So we had to drive from Provo, Utah to Pullman, Washington at Washington State University.
Did you drive through the night? Did you drive and just stop somewhere in the middle of the night and sleep for a little bit?
We made it to Pullman by midnight.
Oh, okay. That's
So we did better than we thought. But it was a 12-hour
because
slog.
you adhered to the speed limit, and
There was no adhering to the speed limit.
it was just safety first.
We just got to
Safety
get
van.
there. Let's get there. So
I'm curious, from the time that I know you now, you invest so much in the kids.
yeah,
Was that always the case,
No,
or did it
he actually
intensify
just
after the
learned their
kids?
names. He actually he learned their names a couple weeks ago.
Was it the kids flew the coop, and you're like, oh, we got to keep their wings clipped?
that's a good question. No, I love my kids.
Yeah.
They're good people.
They are good
I
people.
like being around them. I don't want to miss their stuff. I don't want to miss cool stuff.
That's awesome.
I want to spend time with them when I can. One of the reasons I went into dentistry in the first place was because I knew I could run my own business and still be a family man. There was a reason why I chose that profession, and Those were two of the major factors. The third was there was an opportunity to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
So let's be honest.
Yeah.
So
That's why people do dentistry, I think. I mean,
probably because it's really a crappy profession.
there's a lot of suicide in
There is.
dentistry.
Yeah.
It's scary.
So I made it a point to do that so that I could spend time with my kids. I didn't want to miss my kids' stuff growing up, and for the most part, I didn't. I didn't miss a track meet. I didn't miss a soccer game. I didn't miss a play performance or a concert performance or a jazz band disaster. I didn't miss any of that stuff.
Are you who's more intense about that? You or the wifey?
Probably my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's much more intense about it. And I grew up, one of like 7 kids, and so how should I say this? I was like an afterthought.
Yeah.
It was like I did my own thing. I did my own thing growing up. If my family listens to this, none of my family's gonna listen to this, so it doesn't matter.
But sometimes that works.
But
you do your own thing, and like life is good.
I was like, okay, I got to figure this out on my own. I've got to be self-sufficient, and I'm just gonna figure it out. And that's kind of the way I've always been, because I was one of the youngest ones in my family. But it got better as I retired because all my time opened up. I worked for 20 years, working like 60 hours a week, but it was all local stuff. So when my kids were here, I didn't have to miss stuff.
Yeah.
So, but
The
then,
the problem is like you finished up and you retired, and then your kids also flew the coop at the same time. Basically,
I retired with the same year my youngest daughter graduated from high school and went to college. So
that's a good. Maybe that is good timing.
And because
So
you're
you can
on you're on the inside, you don't feel how endearing it is for someone to drive to you. Like that's a big deal. Like if you're in a relationship and you live further away and someone's coming to you, or you're a child and someone's coming to you.
Yeah.
You don't know how that feels for the person on the receiving end.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It's funny. Obviously, my relationship with my kids has just gotten better as I have gotten older, and I wouldn't have expected that, because that's not what happened with my family. It's not what happened with my wife's family. And maybe that's one of the reasons why we're so bent on making sure we keep that relationship good. I want to spend time with my kids. I want, anyway.
Your kids are cool.
Yeah.
It helps.
They're good kids. So
They're good people.
well, I'm rattling on, aren't I?
No, this is good.
This is a Lance Hepler back pedal.
It's Lance Hepler.
They're famous for one reason.
This is how I consider having kids. I'm like, all right, well, let me see if there's
Is this
like
gonna be
good
good?
stories. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I can switch to the bad stories. You want bad
We'll
stories?
do this off mic. Yeah.
Go, Matt.
Yeah.
No, my back pedal's quick because I am not doing much at the moment with the Achilles surgery recovery going swimmingly, and I did swim 3 times in the past week or so.
buddy.
And biked on Zwift. Okay, I set the erg mode at 100 watts.
Could
And
you
that's
push
what I
it?
do. Oh,
Could-
yeah.
You could push it.
I can do it. In fact, the first
You can
time
push 100 watts with one leg.
I could, yeah. But the first time I hopped on there, I didn't do that, and I was like spiking it up to 400 watts, like let's go, because I hadn't done any biking in a long time, and I just felt good to be on there. And I knew I shouldn't do that, but I was also testing RGT, and I was like, oh, here's a sprint, like just on Zwift or whatever it is, and you're like, okay, so sprint, and then you sprint because you're an idiot, and you're like not supposed to do anything with your foot. But ever since then, it's been erg mode, set at 100 watts, and it's been good. Pretty good. I really think I could bike outside, but my wife won't let me.
Oh.
So
You don't have doctor's clearance yet.
don't have doctor's clearance yet. But I think I might just sneak out and just stay in my neighborhood. Something like just roll around.
Race your kids up and down the street.
We'll see. If the
Dash
weather's
up there.
really nice.
Drag
That's it.
race with Dash. Yeah.
There you go.
I could race any of the kids or all of the kids in the neighborhood. Could be fun.
Cool.
Back pedal's
Well,
done.
when you do
Faster
get
than Lance's back pedal.
Yeah, that was
faster.
faster than mine.
clearance, give me a shout.
Yep.
Cool.
We'll go cruise.
Mr. Scott,
Yes, sir.
what you been up to this past week?
I have done one bike race. I did Monday night PIR, which was interesting. There was no goose poop on the ground, which
It's disappointing.
the very first race of PIR usually has a lot of goose poop, and it's super sketchy.
And flocks of geese in the infield.
0.
There are no geese there.
Yeah.
Is it because the weather's been so bad?
Maybe they're
No.
all
Did
guns.
so much rain that it
Well, what
washed all the
happened-
goose poop away?
What happened was those geese. They're called Canada goose, not Canadian geese.
Canadian geese.
Not
No?
Canadian. Canada.
Canada
is like their
geese.
their name.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like they got obese and they stopped migrating. You know,
Wait,
because we
what?
fed them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They would land and then they were protected, right? They had no like not enough coyotes to kill them.
Yeah.
So they're like, screw going further south.
We're
Let's,
staying right here.
let's stay here.
I don't even feel the cold weather. Look how fat I am. I have the same problem.
Yeah.
I have the same
So
problem.
sometimes we actually see the migratory birds come by, and the ones that are like they pretty much put up shop, and they're not going anywhere, and you can visibly see the difference. Yeah, like a buff bird and one that's not. one that just like frequents Sizzler.
The Clydesdale geese. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but
Sizzler.
Sizzler.
How was the race? Was it a good showing? I know the weather wasn't great going in, so
Yeah. I did the 1, 2, 3 field, and I was like in conversations with other promoters there and Ober officials, Chuck, and so I was hijacked into conversations, and then they're like, "Everyone line up," and I'm like, "Oh crap, didn't get to warm up." But we had, I think, like close to in between 30 to 40 in the 1, 2, 3 field, and
But
it's
small, but still.
yeah, it scored 30 plus, 50 plus. And like I used to be on the team, TAI, POA now, but they had like 22, 24 people. So they were sending like 4 people off at a time, and it's like,
Wow.
there's only like 5 people willing to rotate to pull them back. And
So they had almost 2/3 of the field.
I would say, yeah.
Oh wow!
But it's not their fault. Like,
not their fault.
Good on them for getting the whole team out
when
there.
When I like complained to the girlfriend, she's like, "Isn't that the point of being on a team? You show up and race together. Maybe the other team should do this." I'm like, "You're speaking verbatim what Legion deals with." Like Legion
Yes,
comes in as
yeah.
a bully, and now finally they have like Project Echelon, and other teams are like, we can match this. You know, we can get a few more sponsors and pay people accordingly, and show up with our hit squad too. So, so it was fun. Bob Duffy was there, and Felipe, this kid Stephen Plomer, who's on Teemo.
Yeah,
He's
Steven's
made, like,
awesome. Yeah, he's
Crazy gains over the last year.
yes.
And he was just like, almost like there'd be like 4 people rotating, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna take a lap pull and bring us back to them." And I'm like, "Oh boy, yeah."
Attaboy, Steven.
Yeah,
good for him.
Yeah. So,
He's like European or something. He's a riot.
is he German?
I think
Something like
something,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Das ist gut.
Yes.
And so that was really cool. We were doing racing it clockwise. The last final sweeper turn into the finish line straight. It was rainy, and then it cleared up and it was sunny, but where the sun was setting was the gnarliest reflection into your eyes, where you went from following a wheel like 4 inches to like 4 feet.
Oh wow!
Dude, you were scared, and you had to put your hand up and block the sun just so you could see for a second. And yeah, but no crashes, and good first race. And I hope they just continually grow. Tonight is the next one, or whenever. When does this come out?
Comes out on Wednesday, but
Dang it.
but everyone
I'm
knows
a liar.
You are a liar. and tonight's race was fantastic.
Yeah.
when people
Oh, it
hear
was so
this.
good. I got on the podium. The wide angle podium, top 5.
Won the whole thing.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
50.
I think everyone knows that we record this on Monday and it comes out on Wednesday.
Oh,
typically.
I do have really cool news though. Podcast friend Dylan Wiggins, he gave me his GoPros to put on the bike.
Oh, really?
So
Cool.
I'll have. We don't know if it's Quap Face 2.0 or Quap Face 3, but we'll have some GoPro videos of
The race.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
and while I was driving over here, I was daydreaming. I'm like, dude, I should get you this content all of the time, and you make splices of different teams out there. So like, make a splice of only POA, and then I'll give it to David Root. Make a splice of Dial Guys, give it to Jake.
Yeah.
And it'll be cool for them to be like, yeah, look what the guys did at a local race, and it's just little 20-second thing, and
Clips.
it's so easy to do.
So nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love daydreams, and it either works or it doesn't, but it's like cool that you
Try
like, you daydreamed. Yeah. So that's it. One race. And I had a lot of time off the bike that we'll get into later. So
Sweet. My back pedal is not all that great either. I didn't really do too much. So we're recording this on Monday, like we just discussed. Today was the first day that I woke up asymptomatic. I didn't have anything bother me. It's like I've been swallowing, waiting for my throat to start hurting again. I swear I had strep throat in there, but I digress. But anyhow, the long story short, swallowed.
You probably.
No pain.
I wonder if you did have strep throat.
Maybe. I was tested at the very beginning, came back negative, but you don't know what that turns into. But I can breathe. I'm not coughing. Throat doesn't hurt. I don't have a headache. I'm not taking Advil. It's glorious.
Glorious.
But what sucks is it came back and got worse again last week. And we did the Tuesday night gravel ride. That was a blast. We had a really good time. And it's just having the full Dyke Open now is just, it's
Yeah,
really
how
nice.
do you like that?
It's great. Yeah. We kind of went out there
New
and
route.
dropped the hammer on it a little bit, had fun out there. And then I thought that I was going to get to do things for the rest of the week, and just all of a sudden woke up again feeling really crappy. So the weather was bad and we didn't flog. We were supposed to do virtual vlogging, and there was only a few people that showed up to do the RGT vlogging route. And I was going to be one of them. And then I get a phone call from one of our people here at the lab, and she's trying to leave and broke her key off in the door. So I had to come down and fix that. And that was always fun. I can now put on my resume that I'm a locksmith. So
The weather has, if you're not from this area, we've had so much rain in the past.
Yeah. Correct me if
4
I'm wrong.
weeks.
Was it not record breaking for April in terms of the amount of rain that we
Sounds
got?
possible.
First or second or third month, wettest April ever in
Something
the
like that.
Portland
Plus
area.
snow.
You got away from it though.
Yeah.
I did.
Because it was localized on the coast. I feel like
Yes.
because even Bend was getting decent
decent
days.
weather.
Yeah.
It was decent just past the Dalles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So May's not starting off any better, and so just not feeling well and taking just stuff just happening. Life's busy and a lot of things going on here at work. And then this past weekend and didn't work out again. So rode on Zwift. It's just another crappy weekend, like sub 5 hours for me. That's like the third week in a row or fourth week in a row of sub 5 hours. Ugh. So anyhow, let's move on because nobody wants to hear me talk about that. Hopefully this week we'll get back to it. And hopefully next week I'll have some backpedaling to do. I'm probably not going to race though. Cool. Yeah.
There was racing. Is there any?
No. Nothing happened.
There was. Hey, Champ
Bailey out.
Giro d'Italia, you jackal. Come on.
There's been some racing.
There's been some racing. Okay, should we talk World Championships or should we talk Giro first? Jake?
Let's end on a positive note. Let's talk about the triathlon real quick.
Triathlon.
Sorry.
Wait, first off, I want to know, did any of your picks... were Evan's picks the worst? That's all I want to know.
Yes.
If
Even if his picks were perfect, his were still the worst.
Okay.
And mine were the best.
So
No,
a
I think-
Norwegian won, the men, right?
Yes. The guy that I picked didn't even start. The guy that I picked to win didn't even start. But the guy that I picked second, Gustav Eden, didn't start.
Why?
They've been like sick or whatever.
Okay.
But he announced
Both
it like
Norwegians.
Friday night, and the race was Saturday.
And you guys did talk about him being a little bit sick, right? But you,
Evan did. Yeah, I didn't follow him as closely as he follows them. So, but then the guy that I picked for second, and the guy that both the other guys picked to win did win.
Christian Blumenfeld.
Gold
He's a
medalist,
Norwegian.
now also world champion, Ironman world champion. So he's got both of those.
I heard a story that he was puking all morning before the swim. He was not feeling well. Still raced.
I don't think so.
This
This is rumors.
This is stuff I heard. I saw it on Twitter, so it could be completely false. And then he finished the race and puked again, but still won.
wow.
Sounds
What was his time?
Spreading
suspicious.
7:49.
Oh yeah,
49.
Something- Yeah, I know.
7:49.
Super fast. We all thought he would go like 8 hours, or I think maybe one of us picked sub 8. I don't know.
You guys were all talking about whether or not he could break 8 hours.
And
If I remember right.
and he dominated it.
5 guys broke 8 hours.
Yeah, it was fast. Lionel Sanders, who I did not pick to do well, got second.
Yes.
Yeah, so
5 minutes back.
5 minutes back, he actually kind of out sprinted for second. And
Braden Curry.
Braden Curry from New Zealand got third. He actually led a lot of the day. And then on the women's side,
And then an American fourth. What the heck?
yes,
Chris Lieferman.
Yes, Chris Lieferman. Good call. Yep. On the women's side, I picked Danielle Reef to win, which I thought was that was my best pick. / like she was like a dark horse for people because she's had such bad performances lately. She crushed. She absolutely dominated.
9 minutes. She won by 9 minutes.
Wow.
She like passed halfway through the bike and it was over. So that was
on her.
good. And then it was Kat Matthews,
Kat Matthews, and then Annie
Annie Hogg.
Annie Hogg.
And I think I had Annie Hogg for second. And yeah. So
how did they respond, or what was the sentiment towards the course not being in Kona? Did they like it there? Did they have fun with it?
I think a lot of people really liked it. I mean, I think it was a hard course. I think it was a difficult course. I think it's probably because there's just so much more climbing. I think that
It was
overall,
7,400 feet of climbing.
What was the weather like there?
It was pretty good. It was warm, but it wasn't as windy as it can be. And I think people were really scared it was going to be like 20-mile-an-hour winds, and it wasn't. At least for the pros, the age groupers might have caught more of the brunt of that. I don't know. But so all in all, I think people were pretty pleased with the location. And Kona's coming up soon. It's in October, so that'll be kind of a quick turnaround for some of the pro athletes there. So pretty cool race.
So who won the bet?
I did.
You won.
I'm always going to be the winner. I mean, it's so debatable. It's debatable, like because they
Hey,
both picked.
you're
they both
here,
picked- I'm
so
here.
we're declaring you the winner.
They both picked.
You have to show up to win.
They both. Yeah, you too. They picked the guys' winner. I picked the girls' winner, but I'm generally just a better person than they are.
Also true.
So we're going to go with me for winning. And
Congratulations, man.
Yep.
Where was the venue?
It was in St. George, Utah.
St. George.
That's a new one.
It's always been in Hawaii.
It's always
and
in
it's almost
Kona.
always
Yeah.
been in Kona. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And as someone who doesn't know anything, I know Lionel
swim and then
Sanders.
bike and then.
Okay, I got
What?
that.
You know Lionel Sanders?
Yeah, we're best
Yes.
friends. Went to college together. No. I only know that name.
Yes, he got
So,
second.
What
He got second.
is
It's like the Mount
Like-
Lemon KOM challenge stuff that he was doing with like Sam Long and a few other guys out
Yep.
there. And
He was doing the KOM challenge in Tucson.
yep,
Oh yeah.
But
He trained a little bit with Guyman and pulled Guyman around. And
Something
he was
like
they did a
Phil,
triathlon
yeah.
thing or
Yeah,
something together.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So he's good, he's strong, and he is not the best swimmer, so he tends to come from behind and he just ran out of real estate.
It shows you the power of like one little video and like the audience. Because I wouldn't have
Right.
found him, but I watched.
true.
Yeah, I watched that, and I'm like, I know that name. I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
no, that's a good point. No, he I think YouTube's been really good for him. He's got the most popular YouTube channel.
Yes.
And then so it kind of makes sense for him to do other collaborations with other YouTuber type people. And so branching out of triathlon, I think he's got maybe 150, like getting close to 150,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
Which, is not massive. I don't know what Phil Guyman has, but
in
similar.
the ballpark, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's
similar.
like
So-
200,000 or
And
something
then
like that.
usually people that are similar in subscriber levels will collaborate on
Yeah.
videos and stuff. So anyway, it was cool that they did a triathlon video together. It's worth
Yeah.
checking out if you guys haven't seen it. Go watch it. But yeah, I'm sure they made a video or two. Fun stuff.
Cool.
Gotcha.
The guy can bike.
Cool. Hey, champ.
Yes.
Any Giro news?
Yes, the Giro d'Italia started, our first grand tour of the year. The first three stages were all in Hungary, which is interesting that it was in a whole different country in three different stages. The first stage was quite exciting, won by Matthew van der Poel.
Van der Poel.
Yes, so pretty great that he got to pull on the pink jersey, the leader's jersey for winning. It was really a sprint stage, but it was like a steep finish, and that just played right into Van der Poel's strengths.
Is he going to finish the whole thing?
Probably.
He said he wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if you'd heard an interview or anything like that because that would affect his tour potentially.
He
right?
wants to finish the tour too.
He wants to finish
do it
the
all.
tour.
I want to do it all.
He didn't finish the tour last year only because of the Olympics. He
Right.
pulled out to do specific prep for mountain bike Olympics.
which went fantastic.
Yeah, it was a very good decision for him.
Did he break his leg or something,
He
or-
crashed out and messed up his back.
Oh.
Yeah, asked over tea kettle and jacked up his back.
Jacked up his back and was like,
Well, because
not
he's
right.
one of the only riders who still runs hardtail. Hardtail, no dropper.
Right, yeah.
And they're like, we know you're good, but like,
Come on.
yeah, be careful.
So he won the first stage. Matthew van der Poel was quite exciting. The second stage was a time trial, and it was actually won by Simon Yates.
Right. I saw that. Yeah.
And Van der Poel was second. So he rode out of his head to keep second and kept the pink jersey. So, and then the third stage was completely flat, sprinters stage. And guess who won the sprint?
Asshat.
Was it Cavendish?
Yes, Cavendish won.
We all said that he would never win another stinking race.
Yeah, did I
Ass
win?
hat
Do
once
I
again.
do I win something for that? I feel like
You
if we go
should.
back and look, it was like some sort of bet between. It was. I'm sure whatever Price said was wrong.
That sprint looked unbelievable. It almost
Okay.
looked like WWE or F or whatever one is like orchestrated because it was a very long sprint. And in my head, I'm like, all right, he's going to get swarmed by
somebody's
8
coming around.
He
people.
looked like he went way
Yeah.
too early.
Yeah, but
So
Yeah.
looking at the numbers, usually what happens is you have your lead out train, your lead out guy pulls off with like 150 meters to go or right around there, and your sprint guy just blasts for the last 100 meters. Cavendish's lead out guy pulled off at 300 meters.
Okay, let's just call it here. Cavendish paid the other teams for that win,
It was so close.
and it was worth it because people are betting that he could never win again.
I
and-
was
you
amazed
go.
that nobody came around him
Yeah.
because he just put his head down for 300 meters and just gassed it. And it's like the gap stayed the same. Nobody could like draft off him and slingshot. He held him off. So pretty
So
crazy.
now the real question is going to be: is he going to win a stage at the Tour?
He's not even on the tour team yet. He's not even on the Quick Step Tour
All
team.
the biggest hitters aren't at the Giro either. I mean,
But-
you
Well,
got
that's
Caleb
what we said
Ewing,
last
but
time.
But Caleb Ewing, Gaviria,
yeah.
who's the
I
other
mean, there's
guy?
some hitters there, but
there were 4 or 5 very good sprinters
Yeah.
that were there. They were all going for it. Even Vanderpool was leading out his sprinter. He wasn't sprinting. He was leading out his sprinter, and his sprinter still only took like 12th or something.
yeah.
yeah, but people don't really think he's a good lead out guy because he's so
Vanderpool.
strong
He's too
and
strong.
jerky. He's like,
okay.
why can't you come with me? And it's like, because you're
Gotta-
very strong.
You're Vanderpool. Just keep going.
Slow down.
Rides his sprinter off his wheel.
Vanderpool was working for his guy Marechko, which Vanderpool should have just done him.
Right. But
Yeah.
he still has the pink jersey, which he only anticipated having it for like the first day, and he still has it after 3 days. So today is Monday. It was a rest day. They were traveling back to Italy to finish the rest of the tour, and actually in Italy. So
What's coming up? Anything? Have you looked ahead at the schedules?
No.
I wonder when some of the big climb stuff. It's probably coming up next weekend.
Well,
I
it's
bet.
coming up the first
I mean,
next
there's-
stage.
Next stage is climbing.
They're climbing Etna, I think.
okay.
23K, so an hour effort.
So maybe that'll be the Enzo.
Oh,
the
yeah.
end of
Oh, he knows that.
MVPs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Another interesting thing was Tom Pidcock was slated to race the Giro.
Yes.
And he wasn't feeling good after the Classic, so he's like, I'm just going to go mountain bike.
He'd been sick. He wasn't feeling good after Classic and had been sick, so
Yeah.
he bailed on the Euro and went to Germany to race the
Alpstadt.
UCI Allstat
Yeah.
mountain bike race
And won.
and won.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like
With,
won
like-
like too convincingly. It's like
Like
it's
he
not fair
wheelied-
when you can do every discipline.
He wheelied
and-
across the finish line. He was so far.
Well,
ahead.
he wheelied so early that he got tired, sat it down, and then like repositioned on the saddle, wheelied again, and then made sure to take one hand off. And
Yeah.
we're like, we know you're good. Like, yeah.
Pidcock was
Yeah.
just
That's
crushing
good.
it.
That's good. For the
So-
sport. Let's do it.
It was pretty fun. Crazy.
and Pidcock will be racing next week too at the following
At the following World Cup.
yeah.
Okay.
You know what I'm nervous about? This is the last year of Red Bull coverage for UCI.
Oh, is it?
So the parent company that does GCN Plus, they purchased the rights to do UCI mountain biking, and I'm like, you better hire half the staff from Red Bull.
Can't they?
Good job.
Doesn't Red Bull They don't. Do they have their own production staff? Okay, they have their own production staff. So
they
it's
have
not
their-
like they buy the production rights from
No.
somebody else.
Red Bull knows what they're doing.
Yeah, they're-
every production they do is like is an yeah.
Did you see the difference between Red Bull's produced races and like the Flow Sports races we saw with the first, like with Sea Otter? You were at Sea Otter.
I was at Sea Otter and I watched. Dude, I went to the Shimano tent and they had a big screen TV. I'm like, hey, can you guys put on the race? What race? The race today.
This race.
Yeah, this race today. Like, you have Shimano sponsored athletes. It might make sense. And the guy put it on and it was just so tacky.
It was, now granted, it's not like a small, like tight, like a 10 lap UCI course. It was a 1 lap, 40-mile course. So it's hard to have camera coverage.
Yeah.
But the camera coverage sucked for the Lifetime Fitness
Flow
thing.
bikes is like
Flow bikes.
I can't do it anymore.
So mad at
like
them still.
they'll call out a rider like blah 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 so and so. I'm like, that's not who you're talking about. And I'm like a
Wrong
random
person.
dude like across the world, and I'm like I'm yelling at it, and then it's funny because 5 minutes later they'll correct themselves.
And somebody got in
I
their
feel
ear.
like vindicated. Like the girlfriend's right there. She's like, why do you think you know more than them? And I'm like, I don't think that I know them. But like at this juncture of me watching this, I know that. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Mountain bike. Yeah. So hopefully we get good coverage.
We get good coverage.
next year.
That's all the racing. Champ out.
Champ Bailey out.
Champ out. Hey, you guys ready to talk about some stuff?
Yeah.
All right, so
No, I'm going home.
hold on. We got somebody that we're going to call here real quick. He had a question for us. So he was a. Oh no!
Oh no.
Well, it looks like we got the wrong phone number for him, but I get it, lady. I
We
mean,
need to cover some time here while Jake gets the correct
Yeah,
number.
It sounds like the recording I get when I call any of my ex-girlfriends.
The number you
Really?
dialed.
You have been blocked by the
Yeah.
number that you are trying to dial.
that's funny.
It's a long list.
I had no phone
A
numbers in my
long
phone.
list makes me sound like I've had good luck, though.
That's right.
Let's
Yeah.
give this another shot here.
That's right.
Okay. Are you there, Brian? Can you hear us? All right,
You're on the podcast.
you are.
My goodness.
You're
You are
currently
live.
being recorded on the Down podcast. Hey, Brian reached out to me, I don't know, it was like a week or two ago, and he's like, hey, I got a question for you, maybe a possible podcast topic. And he's kind of finding himself in a little bit of a rut. So, Brian, do you want to kind of just, well, I was going to say backpedal, not really backpedal here, but go back and just like recap the question that you had for us to talk about. And this is going to be our topic for today.
Oh, I'm really excited to hear how this turns out. So, yeah, I'll throw the question out. Let you guys talk about it, and I'll tune in once you release the podcast later this week. But the main question was, like, hey, we all have our seasons of life, right?
Sure.
Sometimes you're riding that high wave of motivation, and sometimes we're down in the trough. Like, everyone finds their different ways of struggling through that. I've been riding bikes, doing triathlon for about 10 years now. And I would say I am in the deepest trough I've been in over the last decade with just overall motivation, getting home from work. Like, what do I have left in the tank to get out there and go shredded? And it's quite a bit more difficult than it has in previous years just to go do it. And, that can be for various reasons, like demands of life coming out after, COVID, how that hit the country and everyone's back on that. So, like, how do you climb out of that? And, like, I know you can just kind of suck it up and just go do it, but years are tougher than others, and this year I found it a little more challenging.
Yeah. And you hit me up with that question, and it really resonated with me because I can kind of feel you a little bit. And it's not just me and it's not just you. I talk to people all the time. I've got people coming into the lab all the time. We'll be doing stuff cycling related all the time. And I get quite a few people that come to me with like, dude, I'm just not motivated, or I'm down in the dumps, or I'm feeling a little bit, fill in the blank. And they're just not able to kind of get out of that. And that's a great question. So we wanted to make that the topic of the day, is like, just how do you get out of that motivational funk? And there's a bunch of things that are kind of, I think, that are kind of contributing to this. And Brian, if you're okay with it, we'll go ahead and talk about it right now. Did you want to say anything else? Did you want to stick around for a minute, or do you want to call it?
Oh, I mean, I'd love to stick around, but I'm going to be going stuff coverage. But what I was going to add to it was, we were at the time trial that you guys put on, oh gosh, what was that, March?
Yeah.
We were out there talking to a bunch of other people, like mentioning the same thing, like you said, everyone is saying the same thing right now. So I know I'm not the only one that's going through this. So I think it's something a lot of people are actually like experiencing right now. So I imagine there's going to be a lot of interest in this topic. And like I said, I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say about it.
Cool. Well, we'll run through it, and you can listen to this when this comes out on Wednesday. And if you've got some more feedback, let's talk.
Let's do it. All right, you guys have fun, and chat when we get back.
Thanks for the question, Brian.
Thanks, Brian. We'll talk to you soon, bud. Take care.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
It's kind of fun just calling people randomly. Wait, you got a question for us?
Yeah, so it's not a loaded question, but there's so many different things that can lead to this, and I think that everybody at some point in time is going to probably deal with a certain degree of this. For me, it's been like a 4-year process of trying to come out of a funk of like my shoulder, and I don't want to, go through that again. But I've had that kind of ebb and flow, and you get demoralized and you get like beat down, and you're like, you put in all this work, and all of a sudden your shoulder's killing you, and you don't even want to think about getting on a bike because it hurts. So there's that. We just went through a couple of years of this whole COVID pandemic crap, and everybody's a little bit fatigued from that. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we've got Mother Nature's just not cooperating. We're on like 3rd or 4th winter. I don't know. I've lost track because there's so many of them. But I mean, we're into May, and it's still like 40 something degrees and just pouring rain and just like really like serious like weather stuff. And then there's the whole concept of the seasonal affective disorder. I mean, that's going to play there. So there's a bunch of different things going on here. Let's kind of talk about some other things that people might have piling on them, and then let's talk about some ways that we could cope with this.
For me, it's I'm in the same kind of situation where I'm just not feeling motivated to race. I'm still motivated to ride and get outside, but not nearly as motivated to race. And part of it for me was last year, 2021 was phenomenal for me. I came out of COVID. I had nothing to do. I didn't have a job. There, everything was shut down. All I could do was ride my bike, and I felt like I owed it to retired people everywhere that if you're retired and kind of have unlimited time or whatever time you wanted to be able to race, that maybe you can actually do something with it. And last year I lined up 43 times. I raced 43 times last year, which is
crazy,
stupid. I actually buried myself. I actually hurt my back because I crashed several times, but I never crashed where I hurt myself. But I raced so much that my back finally gave out, and that spooked me a little bit. Did I overdo it by racing so much? Yes, I did.
But you're feeling better now, though, right?
I do feel better, but I feel
cautious,
fragile.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I mean,
and then
I secretly want you to ride a little bit more cautiously because I don't want you to kill yourself on a descent for no reason.
Yeah.
But
no, yes, true.
I mean, if it takes the fear of you hurting your back to slow you down a little bit because I think your point of like, hey, motivation for racing is a bit low, but motivation to ride is still there.
Yes.
And I think that that's huge for all of us, right? Where it's kind of like, hey, I almost feel like the answer is not one that Jake's going to want to hear, where it's just like, maybe it's okay to not be motivated to race. Maybe it's okay. Like, just go. If you're motivated to ride, go ride. If you're motivated to go swim, which is what you're probably most motivated to do at this point. Get in the pool and swim.
Well, what's funny about it is like, okay, I came out of the pandemic, or I came out of 2020 like feeling really fit, and I wanted to like test it.
Yep.
I wanted to show it off. I wanted to race. How did I stack up? And so and as fit as I was, I won a couple of races, and I had some decent results, but I realized what, this body could potentially do. And that was probably about as much as I could do is what I did last year. And then to have this back injury and be down for a while, and I'm having a hard time digging out of that, and I'm nowhere near as fit as I was last year. And so I'm showing up at races with completely different goals. The goal is, let's have fun and rail this descent. It's not.
Dang it.
It's not.
That's the opposite.
It's the opposite of what Matt wants.
Pay registration and keep the race from dying.
Yes, it's to show up and race so that the community is supported, but I'm not going to be mixing it up like I was last year.
For the caller, because I don't know his his backstory? What angle is he coming at it? The same as any racer? Or?
He used to do competitive triathlon. He's a very
Yes.
strong triathlete.
Yes.
And then he has more recently been doing more cycling. I'm not saying that he's giving up on triathlon because that's impossible. Everyone sticks with triathlon forever. But he seems to be leaning more towards cycling and potentially gravel type stuff. Yeah.
Cool.
He just got a gravel bike, and he's been doing time trials and some road racing.
He's a busy guy too. I mean, he's busy with work, a busy family man.
Yep.
And, he tries to balance everything. So, I mean, that could be part of it too. I mean, when you want to compete at a certain station and you just can't put forth the time,
it's hard.
It's hard.
Did we hijack his question and apply it to racing when his question was more broad?
Maybe.
Yes.
It could
Because
be.
all I think about is myself, clearly.
No, I'm the same way. Like
Yeah,
when you were talking about
Lance's fault. It's my fault.
coming out of winter strong and you want to like see how you fare, I feel that with the fast group rides that we have and even with Zwift, you can get a sneak peek of where you are on the pecking order quicker.
Yeah.
Where we used to only have racing that you paid for.
Mm-hmm.
So you could go get strong and then you could go race. And there you would get your result. But we get our results like all over the place.
We have
we have our power meters, our heart rate monitors.
Yes.
Like we're looking at Zwift, we're looking at like
Strava.
fast-paced group rides.
Or weekly drop rides.
Yeah.
Yes,
Which-
where you can see how long can I last.
I feel like Brian was pretty regular last year
Yeah.
with the Thursday ride. Thursday?
Yeah. The flogging ride.
Flogging.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think less people are inclined to go pay to see the result when they can go get that same result for free.
Yeah, it's not the same though.
It is not the same.
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm playing devil's advocate because I as a race promoter, I want all of those people who do Zwift and all those people who do the group
Yeah.
rides. I'm like, I go to Savi shootout and I see, I don't know, sometimes over 100 people. And then you go to a race and their registration number for the entire day is maybe 120.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's
wait.
not fair. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
true.
And their bikes are like $10,000 bikes.
Yeah.
So you
It's not
got
a financial
you have
situation.
$30.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if money is an issue, just pull my shirt sleeve and say, "Hey, money's an issue. Can I have an entry?" Is like, yes, because you're more valuable being there at the race
Yes.
than not being there. Yeah.
You
So
should probably make them like volunteer or something.
Yeah.
You should make them do something.
Yeah.
They're going to get a free race. But
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
A lot of variables here. I think it was a very broad question that he was asking. I think that he wants to be competitive, wants to go race, but I think it might even be more like just not finding the desire to go train.
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounded like.
And God, there's so many things. I mean, for me, it's like my fitness was coming around well. As I've mentioned before, my shoulders felt pretty good this year after I've started the rowing regimen, and I was pretty excited about that. And I really wanted to take a strong run at doing some gravel racing, and I got sick. And then all of a sudden, my fitness numbers on Training Peaks literally got halved. Like my fitness number dropped to half of what it was. Like that's demoralizing. And now I've got to go fight back. And you're looking at all these like weekly group drop rides that you're going to do. I'm like, I'm going to get dropped at those. And it's like, I've got so much work to do just to get back for a race. And all of that stuff is just like, do I just throw in the towel and then just go ride for fun and rethink about this and do 2023 instead? And I don't want to do that.
people have come back from much harsher things.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, it's possible. And like when I first started following a podcast, like you guys had a thing going on, episodes that I would know you through what you were talking about on the podcast. And it was you getting out of the house, Jake, to ride with Lance outside. And you're like, this is just going to be a mellow ride. That's what you say. And then you put out efforts.
Yeah.
So like, even when I was burnt out or over stuff, cause I raced a lot too. And you're like, I'm done. Like your body just tells you at a certain point, like go walk the dogs or hike with the wifey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would go ride with a friend, and it was always the same thing. Hey, dude, let's just go have a chill ride and talk and catch up. But then the first climb comes, and you're like, and then that excites you, because then you have like this awesome like a friend of me,
Friend of me.
and then you guys are so supportive of each other, and like, dude, you're looking good on the bike. Like you just like build up each other, and like all you got to do is switch that back to positive thinking.
Yeah. And so that was kind of one of the remedies that I was going to throw out there. Is like, just go rip the Band-Aid off by doing something fun that will turn into that competitive bit that you needed. And you'll get inspired. You'll want to come back and you'll want to do it. And it'll be one of those things where like, hey, I'm glad that I did that. And Lance, I can't even tell you how many times that's been you and me. Like we'll go for a ride. I feel like I'm in the dumps and don't even want to ride. And no joke, I'll just on my front door and it's Lance on his bike in his kid. He's like, suit up, let's go. We're going to go ride.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's go. Son of a biscuit eater. All right, I'll be right down. And not for nothing, there's not a single time that I can think of going out on a ride and being disappointed that that's what I did. Yep. I mean, short of the one time I got hit by a car. But I digress. Usually you go out, you do the ride, and you're going to have all these things in the back of your head, this negative talk, this like feeling of down and depressed and all the other things. You go out and you do the ride and you're like, that was fantastic. I'm glad I did that. So it's not very often that you regret going out and doing a ride.
Yeah. We had this chat the last time I was in, like something you could do to bring in new bike racers. So you cast the net to bike riders. But maybe on your recovery day, you go ride with
sure.
them. But even your recovery pace is something that they strive to get to.
Yeah.
You know, like it's hard. Like not everyone can ride 200 watts on a recovery day for a couple hours. Like they're putting out an effort.
Yeah.
And them motivating themselves to get to you, it's so motivating for you to stay ahead.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know what? Like I still have more in me. I want more. And I think it's good to motivate others. It's almost like that tactic of like, dude, my day is so horrible, but I'm going to smile at the barista and she's going to smile back and hers is going to be sincere and it's going to trick me. You know, like my first smile was bullshit, but like it's so human nature to like enjoy it.
Right.
Know? And then you give it back to other people and you're like, oh, that was easy. Like the easiest thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Just let it flow. You know, one of the things that I think can help get out of a funk is register for something.
Yep. We've talked about that before on this podcast for sure. It's
just
like one
have
of our
something
best
on the
tricks.
calendar.
Can I give you a thing to register for?
What would you like us to register
What
for?
could we possibly register
The
for?
Baker City Cycling Classic.
There you go.
Yeah. And and let's talk about that later, please. Yeah. But yeah.
So let's go through some of these things just one by one and just see what it is that you guys would do to get over these things. So like, let's talk about the one that's probably been the longest going thing, and that's the COVID fatigue. That's a lot of people that are just kind of burn out. I mean, you had to ride indoors for a long time because you didn't want to be around other people. Yep. You had to, deal with all the funk that was coming out. And there's like a full mental shift of like how you go about your daily life. And that wears on people. And there's a lot of people that did a lot of trainer riding during that time period, maybe wore themselves out there and they're still having to ride on the trainer because the weather's crap. So what would you tell to somebody that's dealing with a little bit of the fatigue from the old COVIDs?
Find a group ride to make yourself a part of.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Do you remember when COVID first hit and there was less cars on the road for just like a little bit? It was only, I promise it was like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It was just a moment and I was like, whoa, this is kind of cool.
When the road to Multnomah Falls closed.
Oh yeah.
That was magical.
Yes.
I did a 280 mile ride.
Oh my gosh.
And I did the 3 peaks. Like, what is the furthest one north of us in
Adams.
Washington? No, further.
No. Oh,
Rainier?
St. Helens.
Oh, St. Helens. Okay.
Right. And then come down and do Rainier and Adams, and then cross Bridge of Gods.
yeah.
Wow.
And then my I don't know if I told this story on the podcast, but both my lights went dead when I crossed the Bridge of God at 10:30.
That's
But luckily,
280 miles.
But luckily,
not surprised your lights.
but I mean, going through Gifford, like you don't see anybody, so you don't need to run them.
Right.
Yeah. So, but cross Bridge of Gods, lights go dead. But it was during COVID, and all of those roads were closed.
That's amazing.
That parallel.
They didn't want anybody congregating at the waterfall, so they just closed the road.
But yeah, that was epic. Yeah. So thanks, COVID, for keeping me alive.
There was that one moment when COVID was like, yeah, COVID, get these damn cars off the road.
Oh, and if you were like introverted and you didn't want to go see people anyways, and you had that perfect out, like I'm just personally not comfortable.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anything else that you guys could throw out there for someone that might be dealing with the COVID fatigue? And this question could be a little bit deeper too. There's a lot of people that were working from home and maybe got used to that, and then all of a sudden they're forced to go back to the office, and there's a routine and a regimen, and they're tired from that, and they're just not wanting to like work the cycling thing into that whole routine.
Schedule.
It's just like, ugh.
Yeah, maybe not specifically COVID, but the whole umbrella question of like how to stay motivated or remotivated was find a new discipline or try a new discipline.
Sure.
Yep,
Like
100%.
I was burnt out of road racing and got heckled into doing cyclocross, and that saved me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I recently found mountain biking because I didn't want to lose a friend who's a mountain biker, and that is like remotivating me like through the roof.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are finding gravel.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, like
yeah.
that might be Brian Floyd for
Yeah.
sure with a new gravel bike. You know, he may be finding gravel roads to be very motivating. Like a new discipline. He did triathlon for a long time.
Yep.
It's okay to do different things.
Yeah.
And that feeling of like when you come with that base of riding
Yeah.
in that engine, and you go into that new discipline and you don't have to start at the ground level. You're already up in the mix. You know,
True,
and people see
that's
you towards the
nice.
front. Like you need to do a sport that's so mental, like you need an ego. Like you need to have that. So to have your ego massaged will keep you in the game more consistently. I'm not going to put in all of this work to not be noticed. But I think that's human nature.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you don't feel appreciated, respected, noticed, like the work wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think that people should also embrace being crappy at something if you're new at it.
Oh, yeah.
Whether that's mountain biking for me or rowing for Jake. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
biking necessarily. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how good you are at rowing. You're probably good. You're probably great at it. I don't know. But like, or like if I picked up like woodworking or
Yeah.
rock hounding, I'd probably be bad at it. You know, it's just like, I don't think that we have to be like, when we say switch disciplines, it
Yeah.
doesn't mean like you have to switch from, you know, road biking to, you know, gravel. Like
We just want you to be active and healthy.
Yep.
Yeah.
hobbies are good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. How about the seasonal affective disorder? Again, going back to the Pacific Northwest here.
Very
and
real.
The long winter days, we got through that. We survived that. And then we're getting to springtime and we get teased with a couple of those like really, really nice days. They're beautiful. They might even stick around for 2-3 days. And then all of a sudden you get socked in with like 40 something degrees, raining all day long. And
Snows in April.
it snows in April, like a lot. And you're like, dude, I don't want to go back to the trainer and I need to go ride outside. And then all of a sudden my mood, my personality is affected by all this. How do you deal with that?
It's seasonal. I mean, we probably have a very similar conversation every year about this time,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, gosh, we're ready for this to be over. And then summertime comes around and there's no lack of motivation. So just knowing and keeping in mind that it's seasonal and that, you know, things will probably come around, you know, by June, July, August, like we'll probably start to be feeling
Yeah.
pretty good. Fitness will probably come around too. I think that's good. Or at least it's somewhat comforting knowing that we're getting there. We're getting close.
We're getting closer. We definitely are. But in the same respect, like if you lose all of your motivation and you start to see your numbers slip and you see your fitness just kind of like riding off into the sunset without you,
Yeah.
and we're, you know, into the second week of May almost, it's
hard.
It's a little bit disappointing, especially if you like all of a sudden get hit with, like, you get sick. And I'm not just saying that for me because that's what I went through, but it could be one of those things where you work really hard in the winter, you put in all of this work and you're all set and ready to go do all of the things. And all of a sudden you're like finding yourself like a little bit depressed or a little bit sad, a little bit blue, or then you get sick and you're just like wore out. You don't want to go do another Zwift ride or a Zwift race. You don't want to go ride outside because you're sick and tired of being in the 40 something degree weather, coming home slopping wet. And it just takes forever and a day to get all the clothes on, go out there and ride, and then take all the wet clothes off and get them washed and go clean your bike. You just don't want, you're like, I'm over it. You just kind of like throw your hands in the mirror. I'm over it.
You've mentioned like weather like 4 times.
Yes.
Yeah. So I race my training block is usually
Sure.
Tuesday hard, Wednesday easy, Thursday hard, Friday easy, Saturday, Sunday, a race or hard ride.
Yeah.
And endurance.
Yeah.
Sure.
Try to squeeze all that in. But now this was the first year where I'm like, ooh, I can't really do that outside to that perfect little schedule if the weather's crap.
Yeah.
So now I'm like actually watching the weather 2 weeks out and like renegotiating the day I do chores with the wifey. I'm like, hey, like I can vacuum when it's raining and windy, but when it's sunny, yeah, I want to go outside.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's something I've never done. I just started doing this year and that's helping a little bit.
Yeah. That's actually good. You know, that you don't have to think of your training regimen as like an exact science, that it needs to have some autonomy. You need to have autonomy with your schedule to change things around, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, take advantage of the sunny days.
absolutely.
Or if you can, find some sunshine. I know that's difficult here in the Northwest.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, people in the Portland area, if you go east just 2 hours, you're usually in the high desert where it tends to have a lot more sunshine. But, I mean, to do a 2-hour ride in the sunshine out there means a 6-hour thing, which a lot of people
Easily
don't have.
6, if not 7 or 8, because,
Yeah, I wouldn't have believed this if someone told me, but when I was doing the early season mountain biking races, January through April, we would have crap weather down here, and I would go up to Seattle, and it would be sunny.
Crazy.
And
Well-
I didn't get that, at all. I'd be like further north, closer to Alaska. There's got to be
It's got to be
more
worse.
rain. Yeah,
Oftentimes, the San Juan Islands will dump all the rain, and so so Seattle will end up being in a bit of a rain shadow.
yeah.
So
So go to
that's
Seattle.
why people like. That's why there's 4 million people that live in Seattle.
Yeah, makes sense.
So
Yeah.
how to deal with that seasonal affective disorder? What are your suggestions there?
Vitamin D supplementation.
Absolutely.
If you live in the Northwest, you should be taking
Do you
vitamin
guys
D.
own a Happy Light?
No.
And that's the other thing. There is light therapy that you can do. I don't have one. Do you have one?
No.
Does it
Scott?
work? I haven't tried it yet.
My wife had one when we first moved here, and I told her to turn it off because it made me more angry than happy. But
Is it blue or is it red?
it just hurt my eyes. It was more blue.
Okay.
So I don't
Yeah.
know.
But for somebody, seasonal affective disorder can really be depressive for people.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be very dangerous. So using some light therapy to help with that is perfectly fine.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
If you can, I think if people can schedule vacations like you did, where did you go? Texas?
Yeah, but that didn't pan out for me because Texas doesn't like bikes.
Yeah, that's Texas. It was an odd choice. I thought it was an odd choice.
Swing and a miss, yep.
Hawaii, right? I mean, you go to Hawaii just about every year.
I go sometime in January, February, I go every year.
Yeah, I want that to be a habit for
Yep.
me. That's a goal, life goal.
Yeah.
See somebody, too, if it gets really bad.
Yeah,
Yes.
Talk to somebody.
Sure.
See a
That's a good call.
therapist or see a psychologist or somebody. There's no shame in that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, if you're struggling with things and you aren't seeing somebody, then you are an idiot.
Yeah, I
Go
always get
see
yelled
somebody.
at. Yeah, I always get yelled at because Nikki's like, you have two modes at parties. Like you're either the life of the party because you think you're funny, or like you get really heavy about like childhood stuff and you treat like 40 people like they're your therapist. I'm like, much cheaper. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
much cheaper.
And I think there's a lot of power in the placebo effect. So even if you do multiple things and it's not working, just your mind knowing that you're putting in an effort is telling like your mind, your heart, like everything you're feeling, that like we as in your whole body should be
We're gonna be feeling better.
should be feeling better.
Well, here's another thing, too. It's okay to take a little bit of time off. It really is.
100%.
Like, Brian just did a decade of training.
Yep.
A decade of training. Like, I mean, I'm sure he took little bits and pieces there, but when was the last time he took 2 or 3 months off and just got away from the bike altogether, got away from swimming, biking, running, the whole bit?
Yeah.
And just kind of like recharge your batteries, go do something else fun.
The other thing is those little breaks, they do make you want it more. Like I can't bike right now, and I kind of want
Miss
to.
it.
Yeah.
Like I just
Yeah,
like
I've
to
had
do
a
a little
couple-
ride. Just give me a little ride. Just give me a
No.
little hit. Just give me a little hit.
In the last decade, I've had a couple stints where the bike
Can't-
was taken away from me.
Yeah.
You know, I had broken hip and I had a broken, destroyed shoulder and 5 other things in my body. And in both of those stints, I was off the bike. Now, the hip was a little bit different. I mean, but I was still off the bike for 10 days. But I was basically off my training regimen and being able to do the things that I wanted to do for a decent chunk of time. It was almost a month. And then my shoulder was, 4 or 5 months or whatever that was. That kind of gave me my battery charge. And I'm guessing that Brian hasn't had any serious injuries, nothing that I know of.
I don't know.
So maybe it is good for him just to say, you know what, this summer I might go out and ride my bike a few times. I might have fun with it, but he's got a
There's no way
great
he's
family. He's got a fun like camping trailer. Go do that
He
stuff.
has some cool stuff for sure.
Go do that stuff and just enjoy.
I don't think that there's any way that he would really take a big block of time off of biking during the summer. But we'll see.
True.
We'll see.
Well, take some time off from training. If you want to go out and ride your bike, go out and ride your bike.
He's he's got some cool toys he could go do and play,
Sure.
and then be like, "We'll come back to biking soon." You know, and it doesn't have to be a big deal.
Yeah, it just would be fun for, hey, Matt, go jump on your mountain bike, grab your camera, throw it in a backpack, and let's just go for a ride and just
Find
video
stuff.
and pictures and just go out there and have fun. Lance, you can Sherpa for us and bring some sandwiches. And
Yes, you're good for something.
I'm good for something.
Not much, but you got sandwich skills.
Scott will show us some trails that we can go do. That'll
Yeah.
be fun. So just schedule some different things too. So,
Yep.
all right. What are you guys going to do though when it's serious like crap weather and you're over riding outside in the rain and you're sick and tired of riding on the trainer? What's your suggestion there? Yet you still want to try and keep some semblance of fitness. Do you guys have a response for that? That's the one thing that I'm dealing with right now. I'm just so freaking tired of
If it's
Zwifting.
if it's based on just the weather and you have to like reschedule your training, you're not going to lose fitness.
True.
You're not gonna reschedule your training for 4 weeks.
If it's raining for 3 weeks and you can't train, you're losing fitness.
yeah,
If you can't train, but like that's not the case, right? Like
Yeah.
we all know that it's
Yeah.
not black or white, right? It's not like you can't train because it's raining. That's
And you can look at the radar, you can look at the weather, and you can look at the hourly forecast, and you can find a little block of time in there. That's
sneak out.
not always easy though for everybody because I've got too many things going on in my life, and it's like, all right, you can ride today from 3 to 5 o'clock. I'm like, well, I've got 15 other things that I need to do at that time, so that's where it comes the hassle for me. But for if you're not that busy, you could always just like don't ride in the morning when it's pouring rain. When you normally ride, just move things around.
yeah. One thing that I did was I got a gym membership, and I thought it was going to be a lot of like muscle work, but then I found the Concept 2 rower. And I don't know if it's because I needed the break from the bike trainer, but the Concept 2 rowing machine became my favorite. Like
I love it.
Put on music, and I started enjoying it more than biking, and I was getting nervous. I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to be a rower. I don't know if that's
a rower.
I don't know if that's a bad thing to be a rower.
Probably if you started rowing on the water, you'd probably be like, "Ooh."
We were along a
Vancouver
river.
Lake?
We were along one of the rivers the other day. I was
Yeah.
biking with a junior kid down in Selwood, and they had all the coach on a motor boat.
Yep.
And he was like on a microphone talking to
Yeah.
like 3 teams, and I'm like, you and I think we're drafting. Look at these dudes in the same boat. Like fully like in
Yeah.
sync, and I'm like, that looks sick. Anyways, if you're afraid of losing fitness from the bike trainer, and I enjoyed the rower, like you can go get a workout. Like you can make an endurance workout and have new scenery, have like people there. And I don't know why this quote is so powerful to me recently, but like happiness is only real when shared. Like it's effing lonely to be on a bike trainer.
Yep.
Like we have
That's
interaction
why
now.
we like Swift.
Yeah, yeah,
because
there's-
you're not alone.
Yeah.
Air quotes.
But I mean, going to the gym and like sometimes I go to the gym, I'm not motivated, but I see someone else getting after it. And usually it's somebody who's bigger, like a bigger person. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, I am such an ass
Yeah.
that I gave myself excuses not to go there tonight when it's harder for other people to do this. And that like inspires me. I'm like, all right, yeah.
And definitely like shared misery is so much better. I mean,
100%.
I think if I put my trainer next to yours, we would have fun.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be the workout might not be great. Zwift might not be great, but we would probably have fun. I did move a trainer down to David Goodman's house for his garage for a little while because I see him all the time on the trainer in the garage, and it was just
He's got
like,
his garage door open.
Yeah.
You walk by.
you
And
see
he's
him. I see him all
working
the
out.
time.
Yeah.
And I'm always driving kids to the pool. But yeah, and so I see him, and I'm like, I'm just gonna put a bike trainer over there, and then randomly I'll just show up and start biking with him. And I did a couple times.
That's awesome.
And it's fine. It's like it's just if you can get any sort of additional socialness to the workout, it's huge because I think a lot of the time we go biking with others, and that's nice.
Yeah.
You bike by yourself a fair amount, but it's always nice when you have someone else to ride with.
It is, but like if I show up to a new city and there's a weekend coming up, I'll find a group ride, or I'll try to find a group ride that I think I
So
can fit
nice.
into because it's just better.
It is.
Yeah.
To
And
ride with other
they're,
people.
they're more excited that you're there than you are that you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
that's
they
the
get
point.
to share their ride with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny is now I have Strava friends
Everywhere.
in Scottsdale and in Mesa and in San Francisco and in Utah and like all over. I have Strava friends that I've met just from group rides,
Sure.
and now I see what they're doing. We end up connecting at different times. If I come back to town, I can message them and say, "Hey, is something going down? Oh yeah, show up here at this time. Bring this bike. Okay, done."
Can we
nice.
overdub the Johnny Cash? Like, I've been everywhere, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. I like that. Sometimes too, and we've done this before, just embrace it. Embrace the suck. We've scheduled gravel rides where we knew it was going to be raining. We knew that it was going to be cold, and we're like, we're going to go out and get this done. I just still think about the one that we did in January where we took Garrett Taberski out there. You remember that? And he just suffered so bad. Poor guy. He's going to hear this and he's going to yell at me. But he was cold. He was wet. He was miserable. And we were going hard. He's like, oh, my God, you're killing me. But that was a good time. Just embrace the suck. Go out there and just get full on muddy, full on wet, and just know that it's going to suck and misery loves company. So
it's really hard to do those workouts unless you know you're meeting somebody else at the same place. So if you commit to okay, there's going to be a gravel ride on Tuesday night in Vancouver, and so we're gonna. I agreed to go, so I'm gonna friggin' go. And even though it's pouring rain, we're gonna do it anyway because there's gonna be 6 other idiots there with me, or so.
A lot of times, though, the gravel ones specifically end up being fun. The road rides,
the road rides in the rain aren't as fun.
Not quite as fun.
Off-road stuff.
The off-road stuff is it's a little bit more fun. So maybe pick and choose your disciplines wisely.
It's got to be that comparison of driving like an automatic car versus a stick shift, because being on gravel definitely keeps you engaged the entire time.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to pick a line. You have to just avoid flats or
Yeah.
rocks or crashes. Yeah, you have to be more engaged.
Like if you were moving around squirrely on the road, people are like, okay, I'm not riding with you again. But if you go and the same, you're watching the same thing happen on gravel, you're like, oh, that's a good rider because he's avoiding everything that we should not be hitting.
Interesting line there.
Yeah.
That's cool. Anything else that you guys can throw out somebody that's kind of down in the dumps and they're just really lagging in the motivation department?
This may seem like a jerk thing to say, but schedule a vacation. Schedule something away further south.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
if you can make it happen.
If you can make it happen.
Yeah. How about you, Matt? You got anything else?
No, I think Lance's idea of, each winter probably scheduling a vacation, schedule rides with people, and schedule a race. Like schedule. And that's a lot of motivation right there. That's 3 things that I think really put a lot of motivation in your pocket. When you look at a calendar and you're like, that race is going to happen on July 30th, whether you're in shape or not, then you're going to be more motivated to, do some of the stuff that's not super fun, whether that's like a Zwift workout inside or whatever it is. So,
yeah, and you have to have it on a sliding scale of emotion, because if you keep on having these events and you're letting yourself down with whatever goal you're providing, that race becomes
demotivational.
But like we said prior, like it can just be a tool to support the company and the community and to stay present. So
that's true.
I have every year, like you go through a few seasons of like cross ends, you lose all your friends.
Yeah.
You lose a whole bunch of people that you see on a regular basis. And then you typically don't see them again until the next fall. But if you're doing multiple disciplines, you'll for me, I will see roadie friends in August.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Now I started thinking about road. I fully lost my train of thought. But it's so important to come back and see familiar faces. So even if you are not motivated and you're like, dude, my race is going to be crap. Like I'm not there yet, blah, blah, blah. And it's so much negative talk. Like you go and you have 4 conversations with someone you haven't seen in 8 months, and they treat you, it's the friend that like continues the conversation right where it left off last time. And
you're like,
and all of a sudden you're
this.
happy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So like, okay, you got 20th place and you're not used to getting that far back, but like you rekindled relationships that are going to fuel your motivation back into this endurance world.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of times we worry about like, oh, someone's going to see my race results and they're going to like stop yourself right there.
Yeah.
They're only looking at their own race results.
No one cares.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I don't want to race a certain way unless I'm going to be towards the pointy end. And I've totally, this is me talking to myself with triathlon and stuff like that, because I did well a long time ago, but any racing in the future is going to be quite ugly, but it's still going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's still going to be fun. So
one last thing for me on this topic. Do exactly what Brian did. Reach out and talk to other people.
Sure.
Let people know that you're kind of feeling that. And if you got good friends, they're going to pick you up. I mean, again, Lance has done that for me countless times. Even Matt, I'll get the occasional text from Matt, like
5 minutes, 5 minute warning.
5 minutes, that they're so well timed though. And just being able to ride with other people, and if people know that that's going on with you, then you'll figure out a way. They'll figure out a way to motivate you. They'll figure out a way to get you back into it and get you kind of back on the train, if you will. That's always a good thing. Let people know.
I like it.
Cool beans. I think that we'll call that a wrap, and we're going to move into one last thing. I'm going to go with Matt first because he's always got an easy one. Go, Matt.
I think I posted 3 videos last week.
You were on fire, dude.
I was going to post more because there was this bike computer that came out last Wednesday or Thursday that I didn't get to. Brighton bike computer. But that video is coming. I still need to record it, edit it, all the things, but it's going to eventually come out. Maybe this week, maybe next week, who knows? But that, and then I have a whole bunch more videos coming. But I did post a little bit about Wahoo RGT, which I think is very interesting. And then I posted a video about a Polar watch that's brand new. So,
cool.
Yep. Good things.
Awesome.
Check them out on the internet, youtube.com/MLegrand. Matt Legrand, you can find me. If you find the pop sensation Matt Legrand, that's also a good channel to subscribe to. No one will doubt you. No one will doubt your choices. Choose wisely.
I'm going to go next with Scott. I think I know what he's going to talk about based on something I'm looking at on the desk here. But one last thing, Scott, go.
That one show that came out during COVID, Tiger King?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Wasn't the lady's name Carol Baskins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Brian Simiotti just texted me, did you give your contact to Carol Baskins?
Well,
No.
her name was Baskin, not Baskins. Maybe that's
right.
different.
Okay, different person. Sorry.
Totally different.
Brian had an incident in his shop.
Oh, yeah. 2:46 in the morning, someone broke in and stole the 2 most expensive e-bikes. Oh. And as soon as the glass was shattered, alarm went off, and it was just a quick...
I drove by a shop yesterday on my way back.
It wasn't you, was it?
No, it was. I drove by.
You were about 240 to 245. Isn't that time?
They open at 8 a.m.
But I drove by and I noticed that the front door was boarded up, and I thought, oh my gosh, something happened. And sure enough, I saw later that it did. Anyway, sorry, Brian.
That sucks, man. We got broken into 3 times last year and lost so much stuff. 5 bikes, tons of equipment, and computers and watches and power meters and just all kinds of things. And then that was what prompted the move into this location, was to be in a more secure location because there's only one front door and there's just a little bit of glass. We had an attempted break-in 2 weeks ago. We had somebody try and break in here. Guy drove backed his truck up and tied the front door handle to his bumper and gave it a good yank, and
the bumper falls off.
I wish. It pulled the top of the door out, and so the pin was somehow pulled out. It basically bent the frame of the door, but the latch itself stayed connected, and the pin that went into the bottom stayed connected. He backed up and gave it another good yank, and the whole building shook. You can see dust in the video. And then in that process, though, it ripped the door handle off. And when he first pulled it off, when we first bent the frame, it triggered the sensor. So you get the 30-second countdown before the alarm goes off.
Yeah.
And it was counting down. And then when he was going to go back and tie it to the other one, the alarm goes off. And then he just threw the rope and the handle in the back of his truck and took off out of here. But
I'm kind of surprised he wasn't able to pull those doors off.
Yeah.
Or the glass didn't break either.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised.
The doors are strong. They're super strong. And the handle, I guess, is meant to come off for that very reason after a certain amount of force. So, it's so disheartening. I mean,
I know, people.
That's a quick way for me to believe in the death penalty. But I'm kind of extreme because I'm like...
That's pretty extreme.
We just need to find an island somewhere in the middle of nowhere and just go throw all these yahoos on there and just say, you guys go sort it out.
Let's call it Australia, the island.
It sucks because you're a good guy, right? So if they came over and said, hey, I don't have enough money for a bike, you'd be like, we'll work with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We have consignment bikes, and I know a promoter who will give you a free entry. Don't do this.
Yeah. These are not good people.
Yeah,
They're
we've got-
looking. They don't care about bikes. They just want to sell the bikes.
So we've got even more security, and things are even more shored up now, and they're just really doing our best to make sure that these yahoos don't come in and do it again. So Brian, I'm sorry that happened to you, bud.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah.
That wasn't your one last thing. Was it?
One last thing.
I hijacked it.
Can I hijack like a long one last thing?
Yeah.
It's
Go for it.
It's
Let's
all
hear it.
bike race related. I'll try to keep it sequential to the dates that it's playing out. The first one is Baker City Cycling Classic. Is it June 17th to the 19th? I hope so. I hope that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes, that's correct.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. And what you guys can help us out with is we are launching the women's scholarship program
cool.
through Baker. And we have someone who gives us a sizable donation every year. And I've talked about this on here before. And whenever you get anything financially, it gets muddled.
Mm-hmm.
No one really knows where it's being utilized at the race. But her goal every year was, I want to make sure it goes to women's racing. So we teamed up with Stefano from Biciclista, and he made matching kits, bibs, jerseys, and socks. And then Baker City Cycling Classic is giving 5 entries per category. So women's 1, 2, women's 3, women's 4, 5, masters 1, 2, 3 women's, and masters 4, 5 women. So we're offering up 25 paid for spots. In addition, you get a free matching kit. And essentially you race on a composite team. And the goal is to get women who never met each other potentially to ride together.
What do you think the dates were again on that?
June 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's coming up. But if you know anybody who would be interested in doing their first stage race, or it's their 10th stage race, they could be Cat 1, they could be Cat 5. Our whole goal is to get enough women in a field to be able to break out the category. So category 1, 2 race by themselves with their own Ober official and their own follow vehicles, and the Cat 4, 5 field. It's hard to have them all together and have it be fair or fun. So that's a big one for us. We should be getting the kit samples in the next couple of weeks, and we'll do a photo shoot and kind of blast it out to everybody.
Cool.
That's great.
Another thing is the short track series that we used to have in Portland was Monday nights for 8 weeks, and those dates weren't possible at PIR. I know they requested them. They got 2 nights, 2 Tuesdays, and
It was PIR that kind of didn't allow us to have the dates. Is that correct?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
That conversation wasn't with me directly, so I don't feel comfortable stamping that.
Yeah. Okay.
But I do know that PIR was over having like Andy Goldsworthy style trails on their facility, because when they do film like the fancier moto events or car events and they have a drone up and they're looking down, they think it looks tacky to have like a cyclocross trailer.
through the okay.
Yeah. So
Granted, the motorsports brings in millions and millions of dollars to the track, so
but it's a city property.
Yes.
A city property is for
The community.
city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're being discriminated against.
Yeah.
Dang it.
So, but yeah, they do good things. We'll be there at PIRs. So, take what you can get. And, Tony Kick is going to be doing 2 Tuesday night, short tracks at PIR. And I'm going to do 2 Tuesday night short tracks at Washougal.
Oh, cool.
And then my races at Washougal are going to double as basically a course preview for the Washington, the OBRA Championship short track and cross country races on July 30th and 31st. So if you want to come check out the short track course prior to that Saturday, Sunday, you can go out and hopefully sneak in a short track ride.
Nice.
Yes, my sentiment exactly. And then after that, there's I just found out a couple days ago I'll be taking on the OBRA Criterium Championship race in the first week of August.
Oh, cool.
And I told Chuck that if the road race that's on for the first week of August gets canceled, which is doubling as the Obra Road Championship race, that I would like to fill that spot too.
Oh,
This
wow.
is Kings Valley.
Kings Valley is
Yep.
the tentative call out. And I, like, for me as a bike race promoter, it's tricky when events get put on a calendar and then they casually get pulled off the calendar. Because like if you're newer, which is me, I dance around everybody who has seniority, not because they asked me to, but because I know that's what I would like if someone else came in. So I pick dates that no one else is doing, and it might not be the perfect date. And then when you watch events fall off, you're like, no, that's not fair. Like put a deposit down or something.
Right.
Like, yeah. It's make sure certain that's.
Yeah. The Oprah calendar shouldn't just be like, well, I think I'm going to do something this date. Nope. Change my mind.
Yeah.
Like it should be like, if you put it on that calendar,
Yeah.
it's a go.
I think having like a deposit down and you get half your money back. You get half your money back if you pull out. If you carry the race on, you get all of your money back. Things in life need to be incentivized. Otherwise, we're going to say we're going to do a lot more stuff than we're actually going to follow through and do. I feel. So those are two really cool things that the crit champs. I'm actually going to meet up with Clint Culpepper tonight and we're going to go over having that race, and it looks like it would be at University of Portland.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
cool.
Interesting.
So it's like 5-minute walk from my house. Yeah. So like I will definitely be there. And then after that is a cyclocross series that we'll probably visit later.
I'm sure you'll be back on the show.
Yeah. But the details for the Washougal mountain bike racing weekend of July 31st, this is my everything. This is my baby. This is how I want people to kind of view me as a promoter, because it's geared more towards juniors and kids having fun versus making money. But like we all know, you have to make something in order to do this. But it'll be camping Friday night, Saturday night. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have music. We might get a live band for Saturday night. July 30th, Saturday, we're going to have a short track race, which is going to be the first short track mountain bike champs, so people can get jerseys and everything.
Sweet.
Followed, we will have a team relay, but it won't be like a team of 6 elites that just dominate. So I'm going to kind of copy what UCI did at Cross Worlds, where it's 2 men, 2 women, 2 juniors. And for us, I'm only allowing 1 elite. So it'll make it interesting that it's going to be more of a level playing field.
That's kind of how
That'd
they
be
did
fun.
it at short track at PR back in the day, right?
What it was is
They'd have so many women and juniors.
It was
no.
10. It was 9 racers or 10 racers, and you had to have at least 1 junior and at least 2 women, or
I think it
something
was 3
like
or
that.
2 or 3. Yeah.
So this is your teams are going to bring on people that they like. There's a lot of teams that are just elite teams, you know,
Yeah.
or like they've never talked to a junior. So it's going to be cool when like a random junior kid is on like a team with someone that they look up to and like, this is so cool.
Yeah. Totally.
We're sharing this like experience together, and everyone does 2 laps of the track.
Short track.
Short track.
Cool.
After that, so after Saturday night, one of the things I'm passionate about is the buy-in to racing is steep. $45 to know if you actually enjoy this. So after the short track, after team relay, there's going to be all these random challenges that are completely free.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
kind of selling them as like half hilarious, half serious.
Come try.
Yeah, so like wheelie contest, bunny hop contest, hole shot contest. There's the pit bike track that they have the 50cc bikes like race around. We're going to completely course tape that off and then cattle as many people as we can in as possible. We'll probably have 17 and younger and then an 18 and over, like 2 different times. But essentially I have 4 people who are the taggers, bike around and tag people. And the last 3 to get tagged is the podium. And like all of these random things that I'm like rifling through with the challenges, like the companies that came on board to sponsor the event are like, we want to be affiliated with that, you know? So
People
it's like
want fun stuff.
yeah. So we have like a whole bunch of people. We got you guys styled. We got Biciclista, we got Nosa Familia Coffee, 10 Barrel Brewing, Muck Off. There's this one kid who's another race promoter, and he runs dogs. It's called Victory Lap Dog Runners, and he specializes in dogs that pull. So a headache for like me, like I have 2 cattle dogs, and I'm not a runner, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want you to come run my dogs. And his team of workers are all on Team O. So I was like, this is so cool. Like this is a company that I can back because I love dogs and I love Team O. And so he's going to be a sponsor of it. And
where can people go to find out more about these races?
Yeah, you can go right to the Obra calendar, obra.org, or you can go to my website, which is Zone 5 Promotions, and 5 not written
The
out.
number.
Yeah. And that'll have both the short track series of July that Tony Kick and I are doing together, and it'll have the Washougal mountain bike race weekend with the category breakdown. Course maps are going to be coming up. Chip timing, and we're excited. We're excited for this one.
Cool.
Got a lot going on there, my friend.
With the Washougal mountain bike racing, I've been talking to Bill Warburton from Cascadia Junior Development, and I told him if he brings 12 people, I'll make a $1,500 donation. And then the Birds team, which is the development team out of Boise, I told them the same thing. And then I told a development team out of Seattle, which is the Broadmark Mount Si, $1,500 donation. And the goal was to make a regional.
You're gonna be broke, man.
No, I'm not.
Everyone's showing up.
No,
Everyone's
because they have to show up with at least 12 people, and that essentially, like I did the math, and that covers the cost of all of their entries for the races and getting them there and back with gas. But like I was telling you, it's more important that people actually come than they know about it.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want you to know about it and not come and stay at home. I want you to know about it and be there. Yeah. So, and like I hit up the Bear development team and the lady one of the lady who does like, coordinates like which kids race where, Julia, she hit up Jack Springer and Ian Brown and Carson Hampton and a couple other names I don't know. So to have these kids that are like 18, 17, 16, and some of the kids that we're going to watch represent the U.S. at like UCI mountain biking.
Yeah.
So it's cool to like to live vicariously through them at a local event. Like they only made it because I put on this race. No, but like we have Felipe and Landon Farnworth and Noah
Sanders.
Yeah, so it's a lot of, and Noah Sanders had a good race this weekend. He
won the junior race in Utah.
Yeah. I was texting with him today, and so I am so passionate about this weekend, and it's going to be one of the closest mountain bike races to Portland, to Vancouver. Yeah. So we're going to get up there. There's already some single track, but it's going to be double track climb and single track through the woods. And we're going to add some like tabletops, like features that if you know what you're doing, you can get a little bit more speed. But if it's a tabletop, you can just go up, ride, down. So yeah, guys, tell everybody, tell your family.
We're on it.
Can do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
One last thing, bud.
I got nothing else to share. I think we should end on that note with all the good stuff from Scott. So it's all good.
All right, then I'll roll with that too and call that my one last thing as well.
Thank you so much, guys.
Good times. Well, we do appreciate you coming in today to talk about all the fun stuff. Matt, Lance, as always, good times. We appreciate all of you listeners out there. You guys are fantastic. We will be back for another one next week. Until then, bye for now.